Okay, so you're going to have to forgive me. I am in the throes of surgical menopause. My brain synapses are not like yours. They don't work. So I have notes. I may not need them, but I have them just in case. So there's my safety net. It gives me that little bit of confidence, okay? So, you saw my poster outside. Can you believe that that is the same woman as that bald lady standing out by Middle Cove Beach? It's amazing. I am going to talk to you today about the fact that you are stronger than you think. Do you believe me when I say that? Yes. Can you feel it inside of you, that warrior just waiting to jump out when you need her or him? Do you feel it? Yes. Okay. Well, by the time I sit down, I'm hoping that you're going to believe that with every ounce of your being, because it's so true. And do you know what? There was a time in my life that I did not feel strong, and I did not feel courageous, but that all changed with 3 very powerful words that every single person in this room dreads to hear. You have cancer. Yeah. So the minute I was told those 3 terrible words, I was gripped with such a fear that it threatened to crush me. It's hard to explain it. I'm an author, but I struggle to put my thoughts and my feelings into words. I really do. I struggled even as I was burned so bad from radiation. I struggled to put words to paper to write the book that I wrote, which is titled Overcomer. When I got my diagnosis, I was diagnosed with stage 3 aggressive breast cancer. And it was measuring 14 by 15 centimeters the day I started chemotherapy. Can you picture how big 14 by 15 centimeters is? It was like my breast had a baby in there. It was just the strangest thing. And it would move, and it would morph, change as it grew. It was beyond terrifying. And I know what you're all thinking. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine what I would think or say or do if I was told those words. How would you tell your children? I was no different. I was the one that somebody else was diagnosed. I was like, I'm really sorry for them, but thank God it's not me, right? When I was diagnosed, all I could think was, I'm not ready to leave. I don't want to leave my husband. I was only married for 4 years. I don't want to leave my husband. I don't want to leave my children. My mom and my dad, they were so broken when the youngest of their 4 children was diagnosed with this terrible disease. So the cancer was so aggressive that the shock wasn't even worn off, and I was thrown into aggressive chemotherapy, because aggressive cancer means aggressive chemotherapy. There's so many people in this room, and you're nodding your heads because we've all been touched by the devil of cancer. Every one of us, right? Yeah, I know. So when I went to see my surgeon, so anybody who's had cancer in this room, you know your dates, right? You know your dates. You can rhyme them all off. Every one of them. The day I was diagnosed, the day I saw my surgeon, the day I started my chemotherapy. You know all the dates. So October 22nd, 2015 means absolutely nothing to you unless it's your birthday or your anniversary. But for me, that's the day I sat with my surgeon, and I walked into that room thinking, well, he might take off the breast. I want the breast off. Yeah, I do. He might do radiation. So when he looked at me and he said, Denika, he said, you have to have 6 rounds of chemotherapy. And he said this with a very kind, supportive smile on his face. He said, you have to have 6 rounds of chemotherapy, and then we're going to do a mastectomy, and then we're going to do radiation, and then you have to have a hysterectomy. I was like, the shock, I can't even explain it. Do you know what I started doing? This is not in my notes, but do you know what I started doing? I was like, I got to start eating vegetables, and I got to start eating well, and I got to go to the gym, and I got to exercise. And my husband's like, hon, listen to me. And the tears are streaming down his face, but I didn't want to give in to that. And I just started to weep. Like I started crying, I cried, and I didn't even know existed in my being. And then I had to pull it together and go get blood work, and on it goes. So the seriousness of this disease really hit me hard at that moment. I'm thinking, this is real. Like I'm in hell. I'm in hell right now. How am I going to get through this? I have no idea. I don't have the sustenance. I don't have what it takes. I know, right? He gets it. I don't have what it takes to do this. Who's going to carry me? Who or what is going to sustain me? It's so scary, very scary. I had to have 6 rounds of chemotherapy. I had a double mastectomy. I had 25 rounds of radiation, and then I had a hysterectomy. That happened in 9 months. Bang, 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 bang. I didn't even have time to think. Come on in, my darling. Beautiful. I love the red. Gorgeous. It's powerful. The pain that I felt. So physical pain is one thing. I got a high tolerance for physical pain. I had an older brother who used to just punch me and punch me and punch me. And I wouldn't give in because there's a little bit of stubbornness from the Philpott gene, right? So I have a high tolerance for pain. But your emotional and the mental pain was absolutely overwhelming. It used to take my breath away. It was breathtaking, but not in the way that, that I say things are breathtaking now. So I remember sobbing. It's like I talked about when I talked about sobbing and crying. But I used to cry and wail and sob for everything that I was going to lose. I sobbed for the changes that were going to happen in my life. Not only mine, my children, my husband, my parents, my friends, my supporters. My life was about to take a whole 180. So during these 9 months, as you can well imagine, there were days that I was down in the deepest, darkest, coldest pit I've ever been in my life. And when you live, if anyone here suffers from depression or anxiety, you know what it feels like. That there's days that you don't have hope. That is the scariest day I've ever lived. The day that I woke up and I was hopeless. Ooh, terrifying. Terrifying. I felt like my world, my whole life was crumbling around me. And there was nothing I could do. I was defenseless to fight it. I remember sitting in the car in Canadian Tire parking lot, supposed to be going and shopping for a Father's Day gift for my husband. And I was in that deep, dark, cold, scary pit. And I thought, do you know what? The only way for me to get through this is to climb out myself with support. But at the end of the day, it's all up to you, right? It's up to you. So you know that after, when you're going through chemo, if you do a certain type of chemo, you have to shave your head, or you're going to lose your hair in handfuls. Not a fan. Not a fan in it coming out in clumps in my hand and my and have to stuff it in my pocket. No, I'm good to not ever do that. So my hairdresser came and we kind of did it in steps. I had this long, and I'm not being vain, long, gorgeous, I loved my hair. I had the best hairdresser in Newfoundland, Labrador. Just saying, plug for you, Kayla. Long, beautiful, gorgeous hair, wavy, vibrant colors. And then I had to shave it. And to be honest with you, at the beginning of my journey, that was what I dreaded the most, was shaving my head. I can still understand that. So as my hairdresser put it when she wrote a little excerpt in my book, that princess had to lay aside her crown. Oh, that struck me hard. And I had to lay aside my crown for granny hats that I had to wear to bed because my head was so tender from chemotherapy. And I had to lay my crown aside for these beautiful, vibrant headscarves. And I had one to match every outfit. Just saying. You got to rock it no matter what. So you know what? I was in this deep, dark pit, and I was feeling so scared. And then my husband would come up behind me, and he'd wrap his arms around me. Or my mom would show up. She'd drive 5.5 hours, and she'd show up at my doorstep. Or my daughter would paint me this beautiful picture. Or my son would make me a cup of tea, and I thought, I am not staying in this pit. I refuse. This cancer is straight from the devil or hell or blackness or whatever you want to call it. I will not let cancer take me. My children, my husband, my family, my friends, my supporters, I will not give in. I'll go kicking and screaming. And I did. So do you know what? I realized that I had to be all in. No negative. You got to be all in. So that was my decision way back in 2015. So that's when I started finding that little bit of strength. You're stronger than you think. That's when I started building that little bit of strength, right? I'll tell you this about me, I'm not a gambler at all. If there's a ticket in our house, a lottery ticket, guaranteed my husband bought it. I'd have to say, I don't know, whatever he buys, $7 or something, rings a bell, I don't know. But do you know what? I knew I had to beat this awful disease, but when the cards were laid in front of me, I had the losing hand. All cards were stacked against me. And then I said, you know what, Denika? Pull up your big girl panties, and you pull that strength and the determination and faith. I had to dig way down deep, and I did, and I found it. I did. I would get up every morning. I love this part. I would get up every morning. I can't stay still. That's the Philpott in me, right? I would get up every morning, and I would look in the mirror, and I would say, now, cancer, get out. Get out of my body. You are not welcome. I do not want you. Now, God, you come in, and you replace this stuff that's going on in here. Bring it on. Do you know, when I started my journey, I had people that used to send me songs, different uplifting songs, inspirational songs. So I made a playlist, and every morning I'd get up and I'd shut my bathroom door, and I'd look in the mirror, and I'd do this whole get out, come in, and then I'd turn on my playlist, and there was times I would be on the floor like this, and I'd be crying, and I'd be singing those songs. And that was another little bit of that strength that was piling up, and I was finding it within me, because those songs were telling me, you can do this. You're stronger than you think. You are passionate. You have a purpose. This is not the end. Don't even think it. This is not the end. Every day I became emotionally stronger and more determined. Don't get me wrong. I had my days. I didn't want to see nobody. I cried, I bawled, I sobbed, I wailed. But did I stay there? No, sir. Sometimes it was a full day. But I would get up the next morning and I'd say, enough of that. I'd go in the bathroom and put the brightest, best lipstick I had. Mary Kay lipstick. Anyway, I'd put that on, and I'd find the biggest hoop earrings. Everybody was giving me earrings, right? Put the biggest hoop earrings on, and I'd get the most vibrant headscarf. And I said, okay, Missy, get up, get dressed, and you march yourself out that door. And I would go to my favorite place, Chapters. And I would immerse myself in my favorite thing, books. I love books. Love books. Yeah, so that's what I would do. Get up, get dressed, get out. Majorly important. I like this. In my journey, I used to call this whole thing like devil, right? Anything this bad got to come from the devil or hell or black hole or whatever. And I saw this quote on Facebook or whatever, and it said, the devil whispered, you can't withstand the storm. And the warrior replied, do you know it? I am the storm. Get out of my way. It's funny because in the middle of cancer, you see this woman, and she look, you look sick. You can put the makeup on, you can do the headscarves, but you're not well, and you get the stomach cramp, or you get pains like, oh. And then I would say this, and I am the storm, and people would be like, I think I scared people. I scared people because they were like, oh, she's a little bit crazy. I said, yeah, you better believe it. But people didn't realize how real this fight for my life was, I don't think. I knew it. My husband knew it, and my mom, my pillar of strength, my angel, my rock, she knew it. But I don't think other people really knew it. But every message and every song and every quote and every tea bun and every loaf of homemade bread, because all I could eat was homemade bread and drink tea. That's all I could stomach because my stomach was in knots. All of that became my helmet and my shield and my sword, and it became my armor. And buddy, I tell you, I fought this disease with the heart of a lion. I had faith in God, oh yes I did, and I stand on that. But I had to have faith in me too, because I had to bring myself up. You can lie down and you can take it. Oh no, I'm not. No way. There was no way that this dirty, awful disease that have taken so many people. Her husband was my best friend. I know, I'm sorry. But it took my friend. It took my grandparents. It was not going to take me. No, I wasn't ready to go yet. So I claimed victory over my life. So I'd envision my family and me. So we have a big family. There's like 6 of us because it's blended, and it's amazing. And I picture us going on trips that Mary Kay's going to pay for. Woo! I would picture us going on these beautiful trips. I would picture birthday celebrations and Christmas celebrations. At our house is a big deal. It looks like Santa threw up Christmas time. Loves the decorations. Loves it. So I'd picture me, and it's funny that I'd say this now, but I'd picture me with a head full of hair and whole and happy and healthy. That was my image. That was my picture. That is what was in front of me every day, even in the days I was, put out. So God had a purpose for me, and I knew it. Let's fast forward 9 months. My diagnosis is done. I've gone through 6 rounds of chemotherapy that, gives you the weirdest side effects. Your feet go numb and all this other stuff that I won't mention. It's just gross. Double mastectomy. I decided to go for a double. The tumor was over here like this being. So I decided to have the right one removed as well, because I didn't want to go through this again. I'm good. And when they took it off, the cancer was over here too. Even though the 6 biopsies that they ripped from me said it wasn't, but it was here too. So follow your gut. If you got instinct, we all have that. Follow it, just saying. I had 25 rounds of intense radiation. I was the worst burn they've ever seen, with holes in my body they used to have to pack. And then I had a complete hysterectomy that does this. It does stuff to this here. Got this little poop that I can't get rid of. I can do 50,000 sit-ups, not going away. I had a whole new body. I had a whole new me, inside and out. I was deformed. I felt deformed, and I kind of was. It's okay. I went septic in October because I did reconstruction, and infection got in, and I went septic, and I was clinging to life. I was this close. I'm like a cat at 9 lives. So I embraced the new me, but in order to do that, I had to expel all negative. Listen to me. If you've shut your ears since I've been standing up here, open them now, okay? I had to expel drama from my life. I had to expel negative people from my life. I left a career, a very well-paying, a very good career, because there was some negative around it. All stress. In order for you to be healthy in mind, body, and spirit, no negative, I'm telling you. Get rid of it. Okay, so do you know that person in your life that walks in a room and sucks all the positive energy out of it? Right? Get them gone. I don't care who it is. Trust me. I have a story surrounding that. That's for another day. How many people are working at a job that they dread going to Monday morning? Hallelujah. There she is. How many people have friends that suck that positive energy out of a room? How many people have stress or unnecessary drama? Hello, oh, my nerves. I had a lot of it. Didn't I, Sheila? Sheila knows. She's my best friend. She knows. Get rid of it. I don't say it from a heart of bitterness or of anger. Let me tell you, these people that know me, I'm the most loving, thoughtful, caring person on the planet. But I do it from a place of love and self-awareness, okay? I got to be quick now. Time's running out. When I was young, my mom used to say, Denika, what strays did you bring home today? She didn't mean animals. No. Because I'd be gathering up all the hurt kids and bringing them home because I wanted to fix them all, right? So during my journey, I could have taken two paths. Wallow in self-pity and, oh, I'm right ugly and body hatred and all that foolishness they gets on with. Or I could have embraced the change and learned from it. Please tell me you know which path I took. I realized such important lessons. I found talents and skills that I knew was there. I was a little bit ashamed of them because you see what I'm like, not exactly shy. So I was a little bit ashamed of them because people used to make me feel that way. But every morning I wake up now and I say, I have an attitude of gratitude. Don't forget that. I'm blessed with my amazing family. I published a book. I'm going to drive a pink caddy. Oh, yes, I am. I took all the lessons and I opened myself up for purpose. I'm going to say two little things. I remember lying on the bathroom floor in the middle of chemo, and I was so sick, and I was in so much pain. I had a bald head, I had blotchy skin. And I said, you know what? I feel like a cancer patient. And then I smiled, and I looked up, and I said, but you still got a purpose for me, buddy. And I know that. There was a quote I wrote in my book. When you find yourself in the position to help someone, be happy and feel blessed because God is answering that person's prayer through you. Remember that our purpose on earth is not to get lost in the dark, but to be a light to others that they might find their way through us. Thank you.
Denika, Philpott.